Hi, Derek Thomas, Monday Morning Critic. David, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you.
David, I got to tell you, 500 interviews. I legitimately have never been this excited to talk to one of my all-time favorite storytellers, man. So thank you.
Oh, appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So I got to say, in the plethora of movies that I've seen across the course of my life, I don't think I've used a quote more than "best job I've ever had." I think I might use it in every phrase of my life, multiple times a day. Dude, it is one of the most riveting. I love it, man. That is such a wonderful, wonderful movie.
Thank you.
I got a chance. I got a chance to watch you and John on the wonderful interview he does
Oh, yeah.
with you, and he's just such an honest interview. And when he says to you, his defining artistic experience of his life was working with you, I can't imagine that there's a bigger compliment to be had.
It's humbling. I mean, it's humbling, and my what's always driven me has been working with actors and connecting with actors and understanding them. And then in a lot of ways, I'm just a midwife for performance. And so for him to say that, I was floored and obviously honored.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing moment, and to watch you guys, like, I almost felt like I had a third seat in the room because to watch you guys open up, or to watch you open up to him about your early life, your dad, foster care, man, it was just like a beautiful thing to see. It's just like when I watch interviews, I'm so sick of like the just nonstop BS I see. But finally, I catch an interview that has this honesty and this beauty and this love. Man, I loved. I could rewatch that thing 1,000 times.
Right on. Yeah, it's like obviously not the Hollywood game. You're supposed to present this sort of bulletproof persona, to the world. And I think what's changed now is audiences want to know who's making their movies. They want to know who is the real person there. And I've never opened up like that before. It's absolutely terrifying. And, I didn't know if that would be it for me, if that would be my career. But I look at it like, I come from some tough situations, and if I can inspire someone going through something similar, because it's not where you come from, it's where you end up.
Right, right. No, that's well said. That's well said. And it's funny because John and I have two common guests. You being one, and the other one being George Christie of the Hells Angels. Like,
Oh,
it's
wow.
just such a random world. It's such a random world, but the honesty is very, very beautiful. So my dad is a Vietnam vet. He passed in
Oh, wow.
2019. Fury was his absolutely most beloved movie. Um, Authentic, gritty, and real. How important was you to get it? Because you guys went to great lengths to get it right. The actors did. How important was that to you? Because there are war movies I feel like when I watch, they just kind of mail it in. Not here, not here. This movie is iconic, top three all time for me.
Oh, wow.
Just talk a little bit about that.
I mean, it's, I was in the military, I was in the service, but also, come from like, the LA streets and the sort of the danger and the pressure and the camaraderie and the friendship and the depth of trust that happens in those environments doesn't happen anywhere else. And I think it helps to have experienced that. And then, both my grandfather served in World War II. I wanted to honor their legacy and also the legacy of the guys that fought. And the idea of you're going to do your duty no matter the danger, and you're going to keep fighting until the very end of the war. And even though the war's over in 2 weeks, you're still ready to put your life on the line and sacrifice yourself because that's the job. There's something really, really profound about that. And it's kind of anti-Hollywood in a way because, everything's supposed to be about the ticking clock and the stakes and the this and the that. But the stakes is the person next to you. It's your brother next to you. You want him to live, and you're going to do everything you can so he can live.
Yeah, and it's just like Private Ryan. When veterans go see it, they come away just blown away because of the attention to detail you did. That you didn't make it one of the cookie cutter movies. That you took it to that next level. Just a few more questions, and I want to get into this wonderful movie, The Beekeeper. How do you get actors like Brad Pitt, Will Smith, and other projects, Shia, John, Michael? How do you get them to go next level? I mean, sometimes I hear about actors going on, they do the part for whatever reason, but not only do you get them to come on your set, you sign them in and let them go, but you get them to go next level. Like, how do you do that? That's amazing. That's another tribute to you as a director.
I think it's trust. I think it's, I've always been fascinated by actors. It's an ancient profession. You know, the shaman around the campfire telling stories. That's an actor. That's someone,
Yeah.
you know, transforming themselves and becoming other things to tell us about the human soul and our nature. And so I have an incredible respect for that craft. So I wanted to learn, what are they doing? What are they actually doing? What's going on inside of them? And so, you know, I read all the books and met with acting coaches and really went down the road. And that gave me a toolbox to even just begin to communicate. And then from there, rehearsal. And a rehearsal could be as simple as like, we're just sitting around talking about how we grew up, you know, just so we're on the same page emotionally, just so we know the emotional inventory of the other person. And then to watch, for instance, we ran the same scene every day in rehearsal, the same scene for weeks. It drove them absolutely nuts. But at a certain point, you realize it's not about the words, it's about the energy. It's about seeing the other human being. And you get through all of the actor habits of like, I'm going to wait for my line, and then I'm going to deliver it like this, and then on the next one, and I'm going to save this moment up for the day. And you strip all that away so they have nowhere to go but to be in the moment and to bring truth.
Yeah, another iconic movie, End of Watch. You know, it's not only that you get them to go next level too, David. It's that they go to a boot camp. They fight each other. Shy is pulling teeth out of his like, and then you hear about stories on other sets where actors look at their clock. It's 5 o'clock, and you get actors to go that deep, man. I don't know how you do it, but it works. The recipe works. Is Michael Pena the most underrated actor on the planet Earth?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. He's brilliant. And he has an insane respect for the job and the craft of acting. And his prep, he's a beast. He's a beast for his prep. Mm-hmm. And he taught me a lot. He taught me some great tools to help get other actors to where they need to be. And also, he's just a good dude.
Yeah, Shia too. My last thing before the Beekeeper. Explain to me how Denzel can win for Best Actor, rightfully so. Ethan Hawke can be nominated for Best Supporting Actor, rightfully so. But we're going to completely. Did they ad-lib the entire movie? Like, are we going to ignore the screenplay? Are we going to ignore the screenplay like it never happened?
Yeah, we're going to ignore it like it never happened. You know, it is what it is. It's.
Yeah. So, you know, the Beekeeper. I got to tell you, the revenge crowd, the people that love. I mean, this movie is going to hit big time, I think, because I think there's an element to this movie where people just love when, because first of all, people hate these telemarketers, people that scam the elderly. Like they are the repugnant bacteria in society. They are the worst of the worst. Let me ask you this before I get into that. Taylor James, who plays Lazarus, are we going to ignore that this guy probably should be in the Suicide Squad as well? I mean, my God, what a character that is.
He's amazing. And here's the crazy thing. So he's playing this off-kilter, grizzled South African mercenary, right? But he's a great guy. And that was his first action scene. That was the first action he's ever done on film, right? And the reason he nailed it is he's a classically trained ballet dancer. He's an athlete. And he's just like, he was just so happy to be there and so happy to program. And I love working with guys like that because he's just all heart.
Yeah, and it's insane when you read up on the classically trained ballet and all this other stuff. Like, this dude, when you watch that, when people see what we're talking about, they're going to be like, no effing way. This guy's the real deal. Like, and I turn to my wife, I go, I think he's been shot in the face like 6 times now, and he still keeps coming at him. Like, what a great character for these revenge movies. You've got to have somebody like that just doesn't make any sense, but is just so much fun to watch on screen, right, David?
Yeah, and that's like my lesson on this is, you know, is normally like a more gritty, drama, intense, dark, and on this one, I wanted to stretch my legs and just own a genre movie. And the exercise was, can I make a popular, fun, escapist, classic action movie and then find a way to add my filmmaker layer and find a way to add the things that get me excited about the craft of filmmaking? And the answer is like, yeah, absolutely. This was scary. This was like new for me, and I had no idea if I could pull it off.
Yeah, it's a little bit outside what you've done. I mean, when you have that fear, though, is that a good thing, David? I feel like you're the kind of guy where if you're motivated, that's kind of a scary thing. Like, I feel like you can you kind of can conquer big things when you have that feeling. Is that an accurate depiction of?
Yeah, it's like my sensei told me. It's like you're gonna get in a fight, right? So is it fear or is it anticipation? All you have to do is turn the sign around.
Yeah. And when it comes to, I know it wasn't filmed in Springfield, Mass, because my podcast is 5 minutes from Springfield, Mass, but
Right.
it's so many. I go. There's so many references to Springfield. Poor Eloise Parker, who Rashad did a phenomenal job portraying Felicia. But yeah, a lot of Springfield, Mass references in this movie.
And we're trying to, the guy I work with, Anthony, he's from Boston, so it was like he kept it honest, and then obviously we shot it in London and then headed out to Boston with a camera and got some great atmospherics and a sense of place.
Yeah. And, looking at your prior filmography, like you having the top of the top in your cast is par for the course. Same here. Statham, Jeremy Irons, on and on. Talk about those guys if you would, David.
So it's like a basketball team, right? So Jason's a power center, and instead of just having him be out there solo mission for an entire film, you want to pack a great team around him, and it just elevates his game. And I learned about Jason is he has that quality of wherever you place him, that's where he is, and he's going to feel right, and he's going to feel real in that space. And so surrounding him with an A team of amazing performers was kind of the perfect recipe.
Yeah, and he does really well. Is there anything to that urban legend or lore that you can't talk about The Rock, but he can never lose a fight? But I don't know, man. The fight he had with Lazarus was pretty. He took some shots in that, so I don't know. Yeah, there's that urban legend. Oh, Statham has it in his contract; he can never lose a fight. But I don't know. He seemed to get beat up pretty good in that fight.
It's interesting. There's something about Jason where the audience doesn't like to see him get hurt. The audience doesn't want to see him lose. The audience wants to see him go on his mission and start throwing punches and wants to see him drop bad guys. And so it's finding the right balance between, if the hero stumbles and has to take a knee, that just makes him standing up and getting back into the fight that much more heroic. So it's finding a right balance that works with this unspoken contract Jason has with the audience.
Yeah, and in this movie, people are going to see why he's acting the way he does, and they're going to love him even more because, yes, it's revenge, yes, it's all that stuff. There's also the loyalty and love to somebody, and not, where sometimes in the real world, justice lets us down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the pizzazz with Statham. Is that a good way of looking at that, David?
That's it. That's how I saw it, is like he's got a great heart, and he's like a very normal person off duty. He's like a regular guy off duty.
Yeah.
You can have a beer with him. You can talk smack. Like he's good fun and very grounded. And seeing that side of him, I wanted to see just a little bit of that on film. I wanted to see some of that on camera. So giving him an emotional place to come from, humanizing him, just makes, the wind up into the third act that much stronger.
Yeah, what's terrifying is that somebody can go from being this humble man who loves this woman, just giving her honey and have this great relationship, to killer. I mean, that is great. Last thing I will say to you, movie opens up 1:12, by the way, for those watching. Totally worth the watch. Dark Blue might be Kurt Russell's best work. I'm just going to leave with that.
Oh, right on. Yeah, no, he crushed that. That was a great script, too, James Ellroy. That was old school LAPD, grimy.
Yeah, one of the best. And I got to tell you, you are one of the best. And I'm sincerely a huge fan, David. Thank you for this time, and I wish you all the best moving forward.
I appreciate that. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Take care. Yep, bye-bye.